action fake. Milroe going long, looking for Jermaine Burton. He's got him at the 11-yard line. Sort of back to the left side. Milroe gets the snap, fires a bullet. Touchdown, Alabama. Jermaine Burton at the back line of the end zone. And Alabama has in a minute and 56 seconds. Black in motion to the right side of the formation. And across the middle, the throw goes that way. He'll make the grab. A spin across midfield into mock territory. 10. Ball at the 46. Play action. Milroe, tons of time. Looks long. There's number 3. Jermaine Burton makes the grab. And he steps out at the... But he didn't want to risk making the hard break there. Here now, Jace McClellan. He gets the handoff, charges forward, and the tush push. Does it get in? Let's see.
Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners
Yes, he does.
know how good a football
Jam
player
Miller
you were.
sits.
I can
Here's the
still see
fake
you
toss,
playing
and
that
now the
fullback.
throw
I
across
can
the near
go
side. It's caught.
I believe I could have run by.
He's now with Milroe on the give to Roydell. Nothing up the middle. He kicks it to his left.
You playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I run it back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports with Martin and Xavier. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9. As you heard the show coming on, you heard the great Eli Gold calling some of the highlights from the Chattanooga game as we were rolling into today's show. Alabama 66 points against Chattanooga. Will they be able to get half of that? 2/3 of that? 3/4? Could the Tide run up about 50 or 60 on this Auburn team? Do they need to do that in order to get into the playoffs? I mean, we had another night of college football playoff rankings. The Tide doesn't move. What does Alabama have to do? Is Alabama going to win out? And if they win out, will the two best teams in college football be sitting at home? In this last year of the 4-team college football playoffs, will the rest of the college football world get what they want? As we look at this season, the last 10 seasons, will it come down to Alabama and Georgia? Two of the most dominant programs if you take any era of college football. And could they both be sitting at home? And if that happens, of all the teams that don't get in, which team is going to be the most disappointed? That's one of the things we're going to look at in the playbook today as we move throughout the show. Is it possible that the most dominant team of the past decade, with the most dominant team in SEC history, as far as win streaks goes, unless Georgia falls off the mountain, they will sit alone as the longest win streak in SEC history. 29 games. Alabama with a chance to stop it and then begin the next longest win streak in the SEC. If that happens, how you feeling if you're a Georgia fan, if you're left out at home? We'll also look at inside the playbook. Yesterday, I took some time and broke down one of Alabama's big plays, the opening play of the game. I'm going to break that down, X in a little bit. We'll also look at kind of what Bama needs to do to win. We'll look at this rivalry. And I'm asking you, I want all of you to take some moment and either pick up the phone and call us or post it in chat. What's your favorite Iron Bowl memory? Now, if an Auburn fans out there listening, don't you call up here and talk about no kick 10 years ago. I won't hang up on you. I might just have our guy mute your audio, but I'll let you talk and just don't want nobody hear it. So, but no, seriously, call up and tell us what your favorite memory is, or put it in chat. Then we'll wrap things up on this Wednesday edition prior to Thanksgiving with the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries. So, got a great show lined up for you. Don't forget to join, like, share Martin Houston fan page, the Martin Houston 35, and Martin Houston 5 on Twitter and the X / and Facebook. All of those are great options, and you can always call us at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Give us a call. We'll love to work you into the conversation. I want to remind you now, and I'll remind you throughout the show on Friday, we'll have a Martin Houston special edition show powered by MaXSports. Will be a live stream only as the team and the staff of the station will be off and celebrating time with their family, but we will have our normal Friday show, except for it'll be a live stream only edition. So make sure you join us there and write down the Martin Houston 35 so that you can join the live stream. All right. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Well, Wildcard Wednesday, so we could go anywhere today. But the college football rankings come out yesterday. Just your overall thought in terms of the rankings. I think only when it comes to the top 10, only one move made, and that is Washington goes to number 4, while Florida State drops to number 5. Everyone else in the same, the same conversation. Again, what's your thoughts on the current setting of the college football playoffs?
Well, I mean, as you stated, it hasn't moved besides the flip of Florida State and Washington, and that was kind of expected after, Washington's on the road win when they were the quote unquote underdog, and of course Jordan Travis horrific injury for Florida State now that they're having their backup quarterback in. But I mean, it is what it is. It hasn't moved. You know how they feel. And it seems like they are trying to position themselves to have a SEC less college football playoffs as Alabama is able to win out and gets a win over Georgia.
Unless Georgia wins out. If Georgia wins out, there's nothing they can do about the SEC being in. But if Alabama wins out, I do think that they have set this up to hurt, because now Georgia right now, think about this. They're saying Oregon lost to the number 4 team, and so Oregon's loss by their standard will be better than Alabama's lost to Alabama. So we're going to break down this college football because I'm telling you, when you start thinking about just the dominance of Alabama and Georgia and the ridiculousness of college football at this level, and I'm taking my glasses off. I'm taking my crimson colored glasses off when I start talking about today. I'm gonna say this because of course I want Alabama in. I want Alabama in, and So that's no secret. But would it be tragic, Xavier, if Georgia loses one game in 3 years and only their second game in 3.5 years, and you say that they're not one of the 4 best teams in college football?
Yes.
I mean, think about that for a second.
It will be.
We're sitting here talking about if Alabama wins out, should they be in? That's what that's been our argument. If Alabama wins out, shouldn't they be in? Shouldn't they be in? Yeah, but should Georgia be out? And that's why they're keeping Alabama down. I'm not beyond. I know they've said this, but they put Texas in front of Oklahoma, everybody. They keep saying head-to-head matters. But in the first ranking, Texas was ahead of Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma at the time only had 1 loss.
Right. That's what I'm saying is they put Texas ahead of Oklahoma. But they keep saying head-to-head matters as if they won't put somebody in front. And so when you look at this, I'm telling you, it is a possibility. Okay, we're gonna get Philip on, and then Xavier, I'm gonna talk through some scenarios on the other side. Philip, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, sir, Martin. Happy Thanksgiving to you and X.
Same to you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, there's about 11 things that need to happen for Alabama to even think about getting in the playoffs. Michigan's got to lose this weekend. Ohio State's got to get beat by Iowa. Oregon and Washington need to lose this weekend. There needs to be chaos in the Pac-12 game, so that's about 6 items. Florida State's got to lose in the next 2 weeks. That's 8 items. Then Texas has got to lose in the next 2 weeks. That's 2 more items. Georgia, just what you're saying is so right. And I said this last week. If Georgia loses to Alabama, they're not going to fall out of the top 4.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What makes everybody assume that if Alabama wins, that Georgia's going to fall 4 spots? I mean, especially if it's a close game. Especially if it's a close game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's a narrative out there that the winner of the SEC automatically gets a bid. That's about as false as you can get. But if you talk to most people who don't follow it like we do, that's what they think, and that's not the case.
I would say in years past that was true, but they have spent all year, Philip. They have spent all year building up because of what happened in the first 2 weeks of the season. They have built up all the other conferences and tore down the SEC as not being as good. I just,
that's right.
I need to let you finish talking because I got to get the break. So I'll give you your closing thoughts, sir.
Well, I'm sort of I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and it was 60 years ago today when President Kennedy was assassinated. So I guess it's ironic that we're talking about this. But I will be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I will say that it's also obvious to me that the committee is wanting to have a Big Ten, Pac-12, Rose Bowl semifinal.
That would explain why they have, Xavier and I talked a little bit about that. They have 4 teams from those 2 conferences in the top 6, which almost guarantees no matter what happens, those 2 are in. Because they know if they drop Oregon behind Texas and or Alabama, and those 2 win out, there is no resume. There's no win that makes those 2 to jump over those two schools. So great observation. Philip, I got to hit the break, but I hadn't thought about that. So great observation. Thank you so much, Philip. Happy Thanksgiving, sir.
You too.
All right, man. And great observation by Philip. That hadn't thought about the possibility, because that count that they think that that's the granddaddy of all football games is a Rose Bowl, and the big thing has always been Big Ten versus Pac-12. Good observation. We'll break it down some more on the other side, X. Thanks for listening in, guys. We got some comments coming in on the live stream. You can join us there, or you can join us at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Hey, don't forget about Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. Visit southmarkdesign.com, and they will help you with all of your promotional item needs, apparel, etc. As Southmark Design, southmarkdesign.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck on 2059 eastbound before exit 86. That's Covered Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. Everything else looking pretty good. If you see conditions, of course, throughout the morning, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Lord, I'm craving some real Cajun food, but there's nowhere to go in T-Town.
Man, you don't know about Weedat's? New Orleans style Cajun chicken, shrimp, and that Weedat fish. It's now open at University Town Center, just steps from the strip.
I'm on my way to Weedat's now. It sounds delicious.
It really is. Weedat's has Cajun style fish, chicken tender, shrimp, and is home of the Watson wings, buffalo and lemon pepper flavored. Don't forget, Weedat's has amazing fries served with every order. Get your fries topped with bacon, cheese, jalapenos, ranch, or even fully loaded. Only at Weedat's, open Monday through Saturday.
Spoiled supermarket meat, sawdust like fillers, artificial preservatives.
Hold on there. I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. You don't want your dog eating any of that. These potentially harmful ingredients are found in many of today's popular dog foods, but not in Nature's Blend. A freeze-dried raw dog food with real cuts of meat, omega-3 rich seeds, and superfood veggies and fruit.
Nature's Blend is designed to help support your dog's playfulness, healthy skin, soft coat, easy digestion, and youthful mobility.
Your dog will go bonkers over Nature's Blend savory flavor and texture.
For a limited time, save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and receive a free festive holiday dog sweater with select orders. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
I guarantee it with a 100% 90-day return of your purchase price.
Offer available with select orders while supplies last. Text fees may apply. You may receive up to one additional text. Text stop to opt out. Paid for by Dr. Marty's Pets.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky becoming partially sunny today, noticeably cooler, the high 54. Clear tonight, the low 36. Tomorrow for Thanksgiving, partly to mostly sunny, the high 57. And Friday, a mix of sun and clouds with a high at 59. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 47 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the college football playoff Hatem show. The Martin Houston
Whoa.
The Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. Hey, want to remind you that it's a Wednesday edition of the show. Go check out Billy's Cooking Restaurant if you're looking for a great place to eat today, or a great way to prepare for Saturday's game and you need some help with that tailgate. Billy's Cooking Restaurant will help you with their game day specials, a rib and wing combo special. Tell them that Martin Houston told you to stop by. They're open Wednesday through Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. They have normal special 50-cent wing Wednesday, fish Friday, soul food Sunday. So, hey, you can go by there today and get 50-cent wings. Think about that, 50-cent wings. And they will take care of you there and then place your order for Saturday's game. You can call them at 205-652-8617, 205-652 8617. Visit them online on Facebook at Billy's Cooking LLC. Tell them Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports, told you to stop by. All right, X. I called it the College Football Playoff Hate 'em Show. Having some fun there. But seriously, if you look at this ranking, is it conspiracy theory? Yes, it is. I'm taking off my glasses today. Mizzou, of course, Louisville at number 10, Missouri number 9, Alabama stuck at 8, Texas stuck at 7, Oregon stuck at 6. You can't tell me that you haven't seen anything over the last few weeks that would have some movement, okay? One of those three teams hasn't played very well over the last few weeks. And you're not supposed to, they say they take it 1 week at a time, take all the information, and then re-rank them. They're supposed to, like going into this week, they were not supposed to say Georgia's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Michigan's number 3. They're supposed to go, who's the best 4 teams in the country this week? Based on a collective body of work. That's what they're supposed to do. You can't tell me they're doing that. Because they're anyway, let's look at some crazy scenarios. Of course, 4 of the 6 top teams are from the same conference, same 2 conferences, Michigan and Ohio State, Oregon and Washington, which almost guarantees one of those, 2 of those teams are going to make it in, X. But let's look at some scenarios that may work out for Alabama's benefit. And some absolute chaos could happen at the end. Let's say Michigan wins out. Let's say Michigan beats Ohio State. Where do they drop Ohio State, X?
Everybody else wins.
Yeah. I mean, where they going?
Everybody else winning, they'll drop to 5.
So now Ohio State has lost. Okay. They're sitting at number 5. Okay. Now Michigan goes on and wins out. Okay. Now let's say Oregon wins out. Now you have Michigan in. Oregon wins out. They're sitting at number 6. They beat number 4. So now they're in. Where do they drop Washington?
Washington would probably, I could see Washington actually dropping because they haven't looked great. I could see them dropping potentially to number 8 below Alabama. I could see everybody moving up.
Okay. So Washington drops, but now they put Oregon in. Now what do they do with the fact that Washington also beat Oregon? That's a head-to-head. You see what I'm saying? So Oregon wins out. Now they're the champion, but Washington only lost 1 game to a top 4 team.
But in this scenario, Florida State beats the number 9 team. Texas would be a conference champ, and Alabama would have beaten the number 1 team. So I could see them dropping to 8.
I didn't. So now Washington as a 1-loss team is number 8, but we're saying that Alabama shouldn't be a 1-loss team. Should be in with 1 loss to Texas. Well, shouldn't Washington be in since their 1 loss was to Oregon, who is a playoff team now?
I can see the argument, but then I think you go to the weight of the conference champion.
But you also take into the account Oregon has lost Oregon at this point has 0 wins over a ranked team. But you're saying they're the number 6 team in the country. 0 wins. over the top team, over a top 25 team. 0. But because
Oregon should be in the conversation, but they are.
That's why they're keeping them at 6, because it makes it hard to drop Washington if they don't win out. Because they know that if Alabama was 6 or higher, you have an SEC team in, okay? Mm-hmm. And you possibly would have to. Let's look at it this way: Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Washington 4, Florida State 5, Alabama 6. Let's just say that they were to move Alabama up. Let's just say they did that. If Alabama was number 6, Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama goes into the top 4. But you can't put Georgia out by losing to the number 16. Michigan's gonna lose. Michigan would have lost, boom. So now Alabama's 5, Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2. Maybe they move Ohio State to 1 for winning over Michigan. Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2, Washington's 3, Florida State's 4, and Alabama's 5. Alabama beats Georgia. What happens?
Well, you have to put Alabama in. It's not even a question.
And then you take Georgia out for losing to the number 5 team?
With how crazy it is at the top, yes.
So why should we be in with 1 loss? I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm like, how do you? We're saying that we should be viewed better than Texas.
What we have learned is they care more about the head-to-head than they do the strength of the schedule.
When it's convenient.
Which is convenient, which I don't think that's ever been the case before. But they care more about the head-to-head this year, and then I think they'll care more about the conference champion. So I feel like even if you got 1 loss this year, if you're not the conference champion, you have no case. Based off of what they're doing, I feel like that's what's going on.
So when you look at all these scenarios, I think the farthest I think Ohio State in year 1 went from 6 to 4 and jumped Baylor and TCU. And one of those was undefeated, right? So I think TCU may have been undefeated. But if you're at number 8 going into the last week, barring complete chaos, I just find it hard to believe that they would move them up. I know we haven't talked any about Auburn and Alabama today, but this college football ranking kind of has me hot. I get Texas still sitting in front of us because of head-to-head. Fine, give them that. Heather Dinage said last night she believes that if Alabama beats Georgia, you almost have Texas and Alabama both getting in if Texas wins out. Because Texas would have the clearest second biggest win of the season. Alabama would have the biggest win of the season. And, Florida State, do they win out? I think possibilities for losses this weekend is Florida State losing. I think it'd be great if Oregon State took care of business in their rivalry game against Oregon, and then Oregon takes care of Washington. In that scenario, Alabama and Texas might be in. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about which fan base is the most disappointing. And listen, I've asked you, what's your favorite memory from the Iron Bowl? X, think about your favorite memory from the Iron Bowl. I'll share mine. If you have one, let me know what your favorite memory is from the Iron Bowl. We'll keep the conversation going right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports as we go to break here. It is Black Wednesday. It's Black Wednesday at Alabama 1. I'll tell you what that means on the other side. Go to alabama1.org in case you have to get out of your car right now, alabama1.org//Black Wednesday. get all the details on the great deposit and loan offering sale we got going on today. I'll tell you more details on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck on 2059 eastbound before exit 86. That's Covered Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. Everything else looking pretty good. If you see conditions, of course, throughout the morning, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Looking for corporate housing in Tuscaloosa? Sealy Corporate Living is the answer. With furnished apartments plus great amenities. Enjoy comfortable living for much less than an extended stay hotel. Call Stone Creek at 205-391-6040 today to learn more.
It's our best Black Friday ever at JCPenney. Line up early this Friday in store for giveaways all day. At 5 a.m., you could get a coupon up to $500 off. Keep shopping for a chance to win free diamonds at 1 p.m. and stay for one last giveaway at 5 p.m. One lucky winner gets their cart covered up to $500. Go to jcp.com to plan your best Black Friday ever. JCPenney, make your holidays count. Giveaways in-store only 11/24 while supplies last. One coupon per customer per event. Exclusions apply. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hey, Crimson Tide fans, if you have an automobile problem while you're in town for the game, call Jeff's Towing. Anytime your car won't go and you need a tow, call Jeff's Towing, 205-361-3997.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And did we mention it's aluminum free? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LumeDeodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 800.
Amazon's got the best deals on Black Friday. Oh, the best deals are on Cyber Monday. Friday comes first when it comes to saving. Monday's worth the wait for what you've been craving. Deals so good it'll feel like stealing. Real cool message, could you make it less appealing? What's with the beef? You can get that too. Won't you call us? What's triggering you? It's Shepherd Day you're shopping on. You'll save a bunch at Amazon on Black Friday, Cyber Monday too.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, the eve of Thanksgiving. Wishing all of you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. We're talking college football playoff rankings. Of course, we know we got the Iron Bowl coming up Saturday. We're going to have a special edition of the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports, live stream only. Several ways to get it, but just write this down: the Martin Houston 35. That's Facebook. Also at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter and YouTube. So if you remember either one of those two, the Martin Houston 35 gets you Facebook, and at Martin Houston 35 gets you YouTube and Twitter. And we'll live stream from 6 to 7, maybe do a little extra overtime, who knows. But either way, we'll be doing that as our station is closed. So the radio airwaves will be playing Fox on that day. So if you want to hear it, give us a call, talk about it, give us a call. College Football Playoff Committee changes their parameters as they go. They're supposed to rank these teams week by week. That's MHS 0407. Agree with that. Blind Squirrel Sports, Texas is lucky they caught Bama before the Tides. Offense started clicking on all cylinders. If that game could be replayed tomorrow, Bama would boat race the Horns. Agree. For the next 2 weeks, I'm a Washington and Oklahoma fan. Laugh out loud since they put FSU at 5. I'm not too much worried about them because even if they win out, there will be no signature win for them to be in the top 4. UGA needs to beat Bama to get in. They lose in 2 fronts. Their weak strength of schedule and their head-to-head loss with Bama will prevent them from getting in. SMH 0407, the real question is what happens to Michigan and Ohio State if they lose a game, or if Washington and or Oregon lose a game, where do they drop them to? And that's the dilemma. They have those 4 teams up there, so all they do is flip-flop them and not drop them out of the top 6. I'm telling you, that's part of the plan. If Bama beats this Blind Squirrel Sports, so he put the grade in there. If Bama beats the great Georgia Bulldogs, I believe the Tide deserves to make the playoffs. However, I would be terribly disappointed to see that happen because as MHL 47, UGA would be eliminated from contention. It's hard to say. See, everybody says that. We're talking about UGA not getting in with 1 loss to Bama, but we're talking about Oregon getting in with 1 loss to Washington. And they have no ranked wins except for if they beat Washington. Georgia has strength of schedule, whatever, has at least won a few ranked games this year. So truly a 1-game season. So Joy from Tuscaloosa, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I agree with everything you've said, but I think there's another way to put it. They're promoting the 12-team playoff, and they have all year by building up what we called the Pac-12 at opening the season. By causing all this confusion, everybody's saying, "Oh, I can hardly wait till we can get 12."
Yeah, that's true.
So you see how they're building up so that next year they'll go, "Oh, I'm glad this is finally here."
Yeah, and it would be tragic. I don't care what anybody says, Joey. When you look at the fact that Georgia has only lost to Alabama in the last 3 years.
Right.
Okay. That's the only team to beat them in the last 3 years. And then if they lose again, the only team to beat them in the last 3 years would be Alabama. And they're not in. If you take Georgia out, Alabama won the last national title. So you're telling me the 2 teams that have won the title the last 3 years, and they're all still making a case for being still the best teams in the country, you're just going to give somebody else a chance. And that's what it amounts to. Everybody forgets that not this year, but last year, the guy said, we cannot let this become a regional sport. And that's why I hate college football, because it's not solved on the field. If they had went with 6 teams, I wouldn't have an issue. If every conference champion was in and then they picked 1 at large, that should have been the way it should have been done to begin with. But anyway, that's another sidebar. And of course, people say, well, you didn't complain over the last few years. I didn't complain because I don't think we've ever had a scenario where you had this many teams that haven't won. But, I still put all of this responsibility.
This year's the craziest year of the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
It just is. You normally have had 2 conferences that kind of fall off. And so it's 3 conferences with a 1 loss or undefeated, and then you kind of get to pick. I mean, it's for that 4th team.
Yeah.
Whether it's been a TCU or whoever.
Yep. So that's the crazy part. Anything else you got, Joey?
Just the one other is I think they're trying to diminish the Southeastern Conference.
Oh, absolutely.
As they build up all the others.
Absolutely. Because they know that the only team to beat an SEC team, think about this. The only time the SEC has lost a national championship game, if they got in it, going all the way back, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, to the BCS until now, the only team to lose or beat the SEC in a championship game is Clemson and the SEC.
But all season, while Georgia's up there number one because they're the defending champion, they've had the SEC really down out of the top six, that kind of thing.
Right.
And they've had all these other conferences.
Right.
TCU showed that they don't belong there.
Right. And
they bragged about TCU last year being so powerful, and they realized, oh, we can't play with the big boys.
Yeah. And so, Joey, we think, and I'll let you go after this, but think about this. Clemson beat Alabama twice. Alabama beat LSU. Georgia beat Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia. Other than Clemson, they're the only program that has prevented an SEC champion from winning the national champion since they started going where they pick the teams on the field. That's why you don't want,
And I just realized every time the SEC has lost to an SEC team, it's been the non-conference. It's been the non-conference champion.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The only time the SEC champion hasn't won is Clemson and the SEC. You don't want to.
Roll Tide. I'll let you go on. Thank you, Martin.
Roll Tide. You don't want them to get in. You understand that if Georgia is the SEC champs, they're going to win it. If you put Alabama in as the SEC champ, they're going to win it. That's why they don't want them in. Hey, X, this would be fun. I found an old clip. Now, this was back when football was football. All right. My favorite Iron Bowl memory, and we'll pick this up on Friday. We'll have some fun with this on Friday, maybe. Favorite Iron Bowl memory, X, was when 1990, when we went all fullbacks. You have to see this. Now y'all have to. The footage is grainy because it's 1990. It's 4th and inches, and if you look at this, there's 3 fullbacks. 3 fullbacks on the field. X. 3 fullbacks on the field. Kevin Turner is at the wing. I'm at the fullback position directly behind the quarterback, and Junior Sewell is at the left side. All 3 running backs got their hands on the ground. It is 4th and inches. Now, this is a personal memory. The year before, down in Auburn in 1989, we had a 4th and short, and they faked this play and threw the ball to Kevin Turner, and we didn't complete it and whatever. And I was so focused, X, thought I was going to get the ball because I always got to run the ball on short yardage, and we ran a fake. This play, I thought they were going to – in my mind, I'm going to block, but they hand me the ball, and I literally, right before the ball is snapped, realized, oh, my God, I'm getting the ball. It's 4th and inches. I'm going to let this play and a couple other plays play because you have to see there's like 3 plays in a row, but the entire second half was 3 fullbacks. And Junior Sewell, had he not gotten in trouble, he would have been unbelievable. He and I together, you wouldn't have stopped Alabama's offense. He was a tailback that they moved to fullback, but he was about as big as I was, maybe a little bit bigger, and was a better runner, pure runner than I was. But here's a favorite fun moment for me against the Auburn Tigers. And the reason this was so important is 4th and inches, X, and Alabama had lost to Auburn several years in a row, and we went on to kick the field goal to secure this victory.
They're trying to draw him off. No, they're going for it, and they've got it. Martin Houston. How about that gamble? Junior Sewell. Inside of the 30. First down, Alabama. Second down and 9, and Houston, he's the guy who picked up the first down on the fourth down.
Is this the game that we have that picture from?
Huh? Which picture?
The picture of you turned you actually turned around?
No.
Okay.
No. That was 1990. We got to get to break here. I just want to show that. We'll talk more. Think about your favorite play from Friday. But in that particular game, X, that was the highlight where we couldn't get a lot of yards. They put me, Kevin, and Junior in, and we pretty much ran that offense for the entire second half. That was Coach Stallings' first year here, coming off of that 89 debacle where we lost down there. But the old fullbacks took care of business and ended that game right there. How many times have you seen that formation? I'd like to see a little bit of that now. Maybe well, I don't know if they have any fullbacks built in the model of the three guys that was on the field in that particular formation. We'll talk more about it right here on the Martin Houston Show. Coming back on the other side, we'll put the wraps on our football talk and bring in Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. That conversation and more coming up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck on 2059 eastbound before exit 86. That's Covered Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. Everything else looking pretty good. If you see conditions, of course, throughout the morning, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan's year-end closeout is on now with discounts up to $10,000. No reasonable offer will be refused. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. Beginning at 8 this morning, the Alabama Forestry Commission will lift the no-burn order for the remaining 33 counties in the northern half of Alabama, including Tuscaloosa, Pickens, Fayette, Lamar, and Walker counties here in West Alabama. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall have saturated the soil and have stopped the spread of the drought as well. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Based on the past 2 years, you've heard nothing but bad news with interest rates. But when you can buy a new Hyundai Santa Fe with 0% financing for 5 years, that's great news. And it's here right now. For the first time ever, new Santa Fe is now at Tuscaloosa Hyundai with 0% 60-month financing. 0 for 60 months. Yes, I said it. 5 years of free financing. Plus, you make no payments until February of 2024. If you've been thinking about buying, don't wait. New Tuscaloosa Hyundai Santa Fe's with 0 60-month financing plus no payments until February 2024 is great news. So let's get straight to the point. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
With approved credit, see dealer for complete details.
Gun season is finally upon us. We want you to win the biggest buck in West Alabama contest. If you score a big buck, take it to Hicks Taxidermy at 703 Main Avenue in Northport, and Hicks will measure to see if your buck wins our weekly contest. All weekly winners will be entered into the grand prize drawings at the end of deer season. Photos of weekly winners are posted on Town Square Media Tuscaloosa websites. Big Buck Bounty is presented in part by Tuscaloosa Ford, Dwayne's Towing and Recovery, North River Outdoors, Elite Recruiting, Tuscaloosa Tractor, Houghton's Deer Processing, and the official taxidermist of Big Buck Bounty is Hicks Taxidermist.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino's 7 days of giveaways is going on now. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I want to encourage you to go to alabama1.org/Black Wednesday 2023. 3 great options there. You have a loan sale where you can get up to 1.25 starting at 7 o'clock, and it goes down 0.25% each hour up until it hits 0, that you can get a discount on the loan. Then we have the great CD rate, 6 for 6 CD, 6 months worth of interest at 6%. in starting at $1,000, and then you have the Ascend checking, interest-bearing checking account, operation account. 2% can get up to 5.2%. We got to quickly get to Robert for holding. Robert, you're in with Martin and Xavier. You got about 30 seconds, man. I know you want to say something, so I want to give you a chance to do that. Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's we take call earlier now. Hey, yeah, kind of like disagree a bit with you about the guy earlier about the 12-team playoff. Yeah. The 12-team playoff fix is plain itself. I mean, it is necessary because I mean the teams who drop one game shouldn't be eliminated from the contention for a national championship the way they're trying to do Alabama. Absolutely. So that fixes everything, and it gets us an exciting postseason, which we've been lacking forever in college football. Oh, real quick, Alabama this should be 2011 all over again. Alabama should absolutely mop up the floor with Auburn. This is a terrible Auburn team, and this game should not be close. It should be over at halftime. Because right now, we've got to make statements.
I agree. I think we have to do that for consideration. We cannot. I think last week hurts us because if we make it a close game, that hurts us because New Mexico State blew them out. We have to do more than that, I think, to just stay in a position going into the Georgia game. Hey, thanks, Robert. I agree with the
real quick. Where's Alabama ranked? Huh? I didn't see it. Where's Alabama ranked? I didn't see it.
Still number 8. The only movement was Florida State fell to 5, and Washington went to 4. They just swapped those 2. Only change in the whole poll in the top 10. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Hey, we'll keep that conversation going on Friday. But hey, we got Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, presented by Harvest Church. Kind of, I guess, a pre-Thanksgiving edition. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing well, man. I toss it to you to encourage how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, classroom, or our chosen field of play, sir.
Absolutely. We are continuing our series, Strength Through the Storm. And so we are looking at how, actually, we'll kind of do another message that leads us into Acts 26, looking at how Paul focused on making God known in the midst of his storm. A lot of times when you're going through a storm, you know, you're so focused on yourself and so focused on the difficulty and the adversity. And you don't, sometimes we miss the opportunity that God's given us to make him known through those circumstances and through that difficulty, through that storm. So today we want to look at Paul, and then it kind of give a little like you said, Thanksgiving message as well. But I think what Paul did and what Paul knew was if we're going to make God known in the midst of our circumstances, we got to focus first on knowing God in the storm. You know what I mean? And actually leaning into that. Now, as we know God in the storm and focus on knowing God in the storm, we got to make sure we don't make this one mistake. Here's one mistake, and here's, I'd say, one thing that we're tempted to do in the midst of the storm. We're tempted to look at God, Martin. We're tempted to look at God through the lens of our circumstances, okay? Yeah. And what we say is, man, if we're going through this, and then we determine who we think God is because we're going through this, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or we determine, you know, what we think about God. God can't be good. God can't love me if X, Y, Z. And so what we have to do in the midst of our storm, and this is what Paul was really good at. We're taking a play out of his book. He was good at looking at his circumstances through the lens of his God in the midst of real difficult stuff. And we'll actually look at that in Acts 26. When we look at God, look at our circumstances through the lens of our God, then we're able to, guess what, walk in the truth of James 4:7-8, which says, resist the devil and he'll flee from you. When we're in the midst of our storms, Martin, the devil wants to tempt us to believe lies about God, okay? And to really, to not believe that God is good, not to believe that God has a plan, not to believe that God is not to believe Romans 8:28, that all things work together for the good. And so if you don't believe that, go back to the Garden of Eden when he tempted Adam and Eve, and the major temptation was God's not good, he's holding out on you. And so that's kind of, you know, his temptation. But listen to this. When we look at God through the lens of our circumstances, we will always get a distorted and wrong view of God. You know, if we're looking like, okay, I'm going through this, or this happened, or I saw this, God can't be good. We'll always get a distorted view of him. But check this out. Remember what we talked about? The most important thing about us is what we believe about God. Mm-hmm. Because it becomes the lens through which we see all of life. So if we look at God through the lens of our circumstances, then guess what? And we look at the rest of life through the lens of our God, then since our view of God is distorted, our view of the rest of life will be distorted. Okay? And so my challenge is on this Thanksgiving, I'm going to actually let me kind of take it a little bit further, and then I'll kind of give a little Thanksgiving close. But the challenge for us is to, in the midst of our storm, like how do you find strength in the storm? And what did Paul do? You study God's word to see who God has revealed himself to be in the pages of Scripture. And then we resist the devil by, guess what? Preaching the truth about who God is to ourselves, and thus looking at our circumstances through the lens of our God. And as we do that, we walk in truth. And guess what? In the midst of our storm, here's the Thanksgiving message. In the midst of our storm, we can praise God for who he is. That's adoration. But we can also praise God for what he's done. That's Thanksgiving. And so my point is this: no matter where you are today, God has done so much. Look at God and trust that who he's revealed himself to be in the Scriptures is who he really is, and thank him for who he is and for what he's done.
Yeah, and Paul says, learn to be content in all circumstances. I tell people, if you determine that you like steak, if you like steaks, right?
Yep.
If somebody prepares it bad, that doesn't make steak bad. That makes the circumstance around that steak bad. But because I've determined that I like steak, then steak is still good. And well, if I've determined that I trust God, and when circumstances change, God doesn't. And I mean, I know that seems really simple, but if people will understand the circumstances around today's life can make you feel different, but it doesn't change the fact if you like steak and steak is good to you, just because you get a bad one or something bad happens, it doesn't change the fact that steak is good. It's the same way with our God. It doesn't change when whatever happens around us. Tell them real quick where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprintexclusive.com. You can send me a message there, and it comes straight to my email.
All right. Hey, that's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. As we go off the air here, I want to remind you that we will be back on Friday through a live stream edition only at Martin Houston 35 on YouTube and Twitter, as well as the Martin Houston 35 on Facebook. As we get out of here, remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Don't forget, Black Wednesday. Come by and take it full advantage. Go to alabama1.org/Black Wednesday 2023, and you can get all the details. Roll Tide out to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving from the Martin Houston Show for Noah, Xavier, Martin, and Scotty. Roll Tide out to everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.